It was a late October evening in Sofia, Bulgaria. Halloween had the rare occurrence of falling on a Saturday that year, and my friend Minko was hosting an extravagant bash at his parents' opulent apartment. Minko was part of the fortunate elite in Bulgarian society, born into wealth. When I say apartment, don't picture a typical, modest Sofia flat. Think more along the lines of those unrealistically spacious apartments seen in American sitcoms. His parents had embarked on a weekend getaway to a warm destination, either Spain or Italy, leaving the stage set for an unforgettable night. I had donned my zombie costume and set out to meet some friends. Minko's invitation indicated an 8 p.m. start time, so naturally, my group of pals and I had no intention of arriving until 10 p.m., aiming to be fashionably late. By the time we showed up, most of the guests were already considerably inebriated. Vodka was flowing generously. That punch bowl was probably only 10% juice. Some of us, including myself, had impending midterm exams, so we restrained ourselves and stuck to a few beers, while the majority indulged in the punch. Apart from my course mates, there was one other guest who wasn't partaking in the festivities. He wore a wolfman mask and appeared to be an outsider, keeping to himself and giving off an awkward vibe. Part of me wanted to introduce myself and invite him to hang out with us, but my social anxiety got the better of me. As the night progressed, one of the revelers began complaining of severe stomach pain. I assumed it was alcohol-related, as some people struggled to handle their liquor. He rushed to the bathroom and started vomiting. Soon after, another guest reported the same symptoms, followed by others. In no time, a dozen or so partygoers were clutching their stomachs in pain, and a few even vomited on the living room floor. Concerned, someone called for medical assistance. Upon reaching the hospital, we discovered that it wasn't a severe case of alcohol poisoning, but rather that the punch had been secretly laced with rat poison. Fortunately, the dosage wasn't lethal, but without treatment, it could have turned fatal within a few hours. Given the inebriated state of the party, it was entirely possible that no one would have been sober enough to react and call an ambulance. Someone might have passed out without realizing they'd been poisoned. Thankfully, many were hospitalized, but nobody suffered long-term health issues. When questioned about the incident, my mind went to the guy in the wolfman mask, who had been hanging around the punch bowl. I mentioned this to the police and suggested that someone at the party must have known him, but nobody could recall seeing him without his mask, or even remember when or with whom he arrived. The police investigation yielded little information, and it appeared to be an isolated incident perpetrated by someone with a malicious intent to harm many people at once. However, people like that rarely stop at just one attempt. Almost a year later, on the same Halloween weekend, the same horrifying incident occurred at a party in a different part of town. This time, the poison dosage was increased, putting 3 lives in peril, with 10 more individuals hospitalized. Fortunately, a quick-thinking partygoer thwarted the perpetrator and alerted the police. The guy in the wolfman mask turned out to be mentally disturbed and cited the Jonestown Massacre as his inspiration for the act. The Jonestown Massacre was a tragic event in the late 70s where over 300 members of a cult died after being forced to drink from a poisoned punch bowl. This disturbed individual sought to pay homage to the largest mass suicide in history. For the first time in my life, I was thankful for my impending exams. My reputation for going wild at parties and trying to outdrink everyone made me consider what could have happened if I had consumed more of that poison punch. These days, whenever Minko hosts a Halloween party, he's diligent about checking under everyone's masks at the door to ensure they're on the guest list. A few years ago, my aunt and uncle visited us from abroad, and they were intrigued by the peculiar story of the Halloween party and the guy in the wolfman mask. It had become somewhat of a local legend, a cautionary tale shared in hushed tones during spooky season. The mysterious masked figure had left a mark on our Halloween festivities. Minko's parties had transformed from extravagant celebrations into hypervigilant gatherings. security had been ramped up, and everyone's costumes were scrutinized. The once carefree atmosphere was now tainted by the memory of that fateful night, making us all a bit more wary. As the years passed, Halloween came and went, each time with Minko's cautious approach, but nothing as sinister as the poison punch incident recurred. It appeared that the threat had been vanquished. People gradually let their guard down, and Halloween in Sofia started to regain its festive spirit. Then, one October night, on the anniversary of the first incident, a chilling sense of déjà vu overtook us. It wasn't in the opulent apartment, but at a different venue, one of those trendy bars that had become popular among the younger crowd. This time, the poisoner didn't slip into the event in disguise. He boldly entered the venue, wearing a black cloak and a sinister mask, symbolizing his ominous intentions. He repeated the same horrifying act, lacing the punch with a deadly substance. Panic ensued, but this time, the lessons learned from the past played a crucial role. Quick-thinking patrons took action, preventing the poison from taking as many victims. The police arrived promptly and apprehended the masked figure. As the mask was removed, revealing the face of the person behind this macabre act, the shock and disbelief in the room were palpable. It was someone I recognized, an acquaintance from the past, a person who had seemed so normal on the surface. But as the investigation unfolded, we discovered that this individual had been harboring a deep-seated grudge against society, a desire to cause chaos and terror. He was, in essence, a copycat inspired by the original Wolfman. This time, the authorities dug deeper into the individual's motives and connections, uncovering a network of like-minded individuals who had been planning similar attacks. The menace went beyond a single disturbed person, it was part of a larger movement. The danger was more extensive than anyone had anticipated. The incident shook our community to its core, forcing us to confront the grim reality that such evil exists even within our circles. The aftermath led to increased security measures and a collective vigilance during Halloween events. We understood the importance of being cautious and looking out for one another. The eerie story of the Wolfman had evolved from a local legend into a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk in unexpected places. And, in the end, it also underscored the resilience and unity of a community determined to protect itself from harm, even during the spookiest of seasons.